Hello, world. This is Shruti Pandey, and today I have with me an amazing, iconic name and an amazing, iconic expert or a champion in solutions, who I think should have been on the first season or the first year of itishruti podcast. But thanks to me, I have delayed it so long that here we are in 2025. But I think this is going to be so great because Rishi Kapoor, ta-da, is here with us today, and he's going to share his all the golden nuggets about solutions engineering and channel sales and everything. So, thank you so much, Rishi, and I'm so sorry that I literally delayed on my side getting you on the podcast.
No, it's all good. Thank you so much, Shruti, for having me. And I'm glad we've been in touch. And I'm a strong believer of everything happens for a reason at the right time. So I'm really glad I'm here. It's very exciting. I've been following you on all of the social media platforms for a while, and I've been like listening and watching your guests. So it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
You are too kind, and I think you were one of my strongest supporters when during the pandemic I started writing on LinkedIn, and I wasn't even sure who Rishi Kapoor is, and the name is so big and huge. For once, you feel, oh, is that a real person? But you are very much a real person and a good one. So yeah, good human being at core. So I'm so happy that here we are recording this, and I really want to break the ice and start this conversation by asking you, how has your solutions journey been so far? If that's
Yeah,
not
it's
to ask.
no, it's a great question, and I think my journey has been quite interesting. So I haven't just to level set what I do at the moment. So I currently work for a company called Alteryx. It's a software company. We work with data scientists, business analysts. It's an end-to-end analytics platform, and it's HQ'd in America in California. And my current role is I manage the partner sales engineering and the solutions team globally within Alteryx. I'm based in London, and I haven't always worked in pre-sales or solutions engineering or partner sales engineering. So my solutions journey started way back when I actually did a couple of stints in consultancy. So I used to work for a couple of consultancies, like name dropping at the moment. Like I started my career with CGI a long time ago in the telecoms and the media industries. And then I did various stints into investment banking. I went back into consultancy, and then I'm working for Alteryx. Now, I think my solutions journey has been with me throughout my whole career. And my definition of a solution is something that is potentially repeatable but helps solve business challenges. So whether if it was, me working in consultancy and helping customers out with their business challenges, or working in the business directly, like an investment bank, for example, I would be helping solving challenges all the time. So I feel as if I've always been in a role in solutions, even though maybe my title didn't formalize it. And I think as a sales engineer, like prior to Alteryx, I didn't even know what a sales engineer was. And I think we, as sales engineers and as partner sales engineers and working in partner solutions, we're constantly working with clients or partners to help solve business challenges, basically. So, yeah, my journey has been over 20 years so far. So yeah, it's been a good, exciting journey helping out solving business challenges for customers out there.
Let me start by saying you don't look your age, 20 years for starters. And I think you're not the first person. If I just look at it as one solutions engineer talking to another. You
Yeah.
the first one who has said, oh, we didn't even know we landed into this. I think it's such an amazing role or title or work. All of us somehow just were led into it. It's so I don't even know how to call it. Is it organic, inorganic? But it's such an amazing thing that we wound up doing solutions. And as you rightly said, I think we have been doing solutions all our life. That's what a true engineer or a techie has been doing. And while I also appreciate your fact that, we are always solving problems, be it consultancy or be it a direct, hire for a bank or whatever company that might be. Let me ask you
Mhm.
one silly question here. Like, what do you enjoy the most? Like, a consultancy is better or a direct hire is better? What's your take on that?
It's it's another good question. And I think I I actually like sales engineering out of everything. The reason being is actually when I joined Alteryx, my hiring manager was saying I have enough experience to be a sales engineer. And I said, I haven't worked in sales before. So how do I have enough experience? And he said, you've worked with so many different clients, solving their challenges and working on so many different use cases. Now, actually, well, I'm not saying that those people who work directly in the business and in the industry, they don't solve different things every day. But I think as a sales engineer, um, we do that. Like when I first started my career at Alteryx, I was having 5 meetings in a day with 5 different customers. And I think it's no challenge or use case is always the same. The customer is always got a different scenario. So I think I actually enjoy I like to call it consultative selling or like solution consultancy. Like it's a combination of solutions engineering and consulting. I mean, like I have spent many years in consultancy as well. And today we are going to be talking about partnerships. A number of the partners who work with us at Alteryx are very used to focusing on long-term strategic projects. But for me personally, in my career, I wanted to sort of leave that to the partner specialists. And, I wanted to focus on helping multiple customers at the same time very quickly. So I think that's why pre-sales was more attractive to me. If I have to pick any part of my career, I would say the pre-sales world is probably the most interesting for me.
Awesome, awesome. And since you've mentioned partnerships and everything, let me deep dive into that because, for a layman, listening to words like channels or partners or alliances, it looks like you're using synonyms, right, for describing the same thing or the same medium of sales. So, my next question for you basically is all these three categories that we have as separate entities of sales medium, how different or how same they are, since you are also in this arena of partnership and channels. Can you describe all the three, like partnerships or alliances or channels? Are they same, are they different, and how is it really?
Yeah, and actually, when I first started in this role, all of those terms, so partners, channel, alliances, they can be confused with each other
Exactly.
because actually they are quite similar in terms of functions. But I would start off with partners. That's the broadest, I would like to say, name for that umbrella. And essentially, like again, I'm going to refer to the examples at Alteryx. So at our Alteryx, we have within partnerships, we have technology partners. So we work very closely with the likes of Snowflake, Databricks as cloud data warehouse partners. And then we work very closely, say, with Power BI or Tableau as partners to produce outputs and dashboards. Um, and then we have sort of like consulting partners. So these are your Accentures, your PwCs in the world, the ones who like those strategic projects. They work very closely with us as well, and they're very important, especially when we're like in my world, I call them partner sales plays, where they are working on partner sales plays, which is a repeatable solution, again, to solve business challenges like maybe migration projects or something like that. And then we have training partners. So we work with a number of companies. Globally, there is a partner called the Information Labs whose specialism is training, and they run data schools or they run enablement programs for us. So that's like the term partners, and I would split that up into different categories in those categories. And then we talk about channel. Now, channel can also be mistaken as that whole network. But in my mind, channel is kind of split into the type of partnership. So at Alteryx, we will have resell partnerships. So this is where a partner will be sort of purchasing our software and then reselling it on to their clients. We have partners who are collaborative within the channel ecosystem. So collaborative is they work with us. So our sales team will be selling our software to a customer, but we will be bringing in a partner to help solve a business challenge for that customer. And the final terminology within channel, in my mind, is distribution. So we work with distributors as well, to distribution partners. For example, in the US, in America, we do a lot of, well, majority of our business within the federal government and public sector is through a distributor.
Yeah.
So we have, these are, in my mind, these are the different types within the umbrellas of partners, alliances, and channel, essentially.
So, if I'm not mistaken, uh, how do I put this? Can alliance and partner be of similar nature? Not really.
Well, it can
So,
because I would say alliances essentially are the strategic element to the partnerships. So whether it's so you can say that alliances consist of partners, whether they're technology partners or whether they're training partners or another type of partnership. Then I would say think of channel as selling Alteryx or selling the software, and think of partners that support the ecosystem. So we might even have partners within an alliance umbrella who also a number of our partners work with other tech vendors as well.
yeah.
So some of them we like, some of them we don't as much because they are our competition, but partners are agnostic from
Right.
that perspective. So what my role and my team's role it actually is to support all of these umbrellas. And essentially, like jokes apart, if a partner is working with one of our competition, actually, one good thing about Alteryx is it's not about taking down the competition. It's about, okay, let's work with a partner to understand Alteryx will benefit the company here, but our competitor will benefit the company more in another area, for example. So we're all about let's work with the partners to bring us and the other technologies together and be used in a better way, basically.
I genuinely appreciate that. I mean, the times we are living in, sometimes ethics are gone for a toss, but that's a good spirit to have
Yeah.
while operating in a corporate world. Wow.
I mean, like to be honest, some people actually ask me, they said that you've been at Alteryx for so many years. And as you know, the solutions and sales world it's like a couple of years is equivalent to like double the amount of dog years. And I think the reason why I'm still here is working ethically is really important. Even actually, people don't like salespeople, right? People don't hate salespeople sometimes. But I think if you're selling ethically and you're doing business that keeps the customer success top of mind,
Yeah.
in my mind, you can't go wrong, right? Like, at the end of the day, you want to do what's right by the customer,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. It's not just about the dollars or money that we get in, solving all the
No.
amazing problems, but it's also about having a good night's sleep, right? That, okay, I'm doing
Yeah.
right off my conscience. So that totally makes sense. And I also appreciate the fact that solutions engineering itself as a gamut is so much things to do, right? It's so diversified, even if you're given one region, be it APAC, EMEA, US, or whatever, right? I mean, I remember when I was initially the new member as the new team of solutions at one place, and you just try to dive into every element of it, right? Channels and partners, and let's see all of them. So I totally understand and appreciate that how difficult this job and role is, and it becomes even more difficult when you're trying to manage all these different types of sales mediums. So I definitely want to ask you this one, which is uh, what do you think are the biggest challenges for, channel sales in 2025? Because there's so much
Yeah.
happening. There are so many members, distribution, resell, this, that. It just adds to the complexity. I'm pretty sure there are some new challenges coming in 2025. And can you help us understand them?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges that I can foresee coming up this year, but I think these are good challenges that we can overcome. Um, Personally, and every time I speak to people in my team, there is that still long age challenge of actually our role as partner sales engineers or partner solutions, we're stuck smack bang in the middle.
Yeah.
Um, we're kind of the intermediate between the partner and the salesperson. And we're also thinking about the customer as well. So, there's always that element of, we call it channel conflict, where actually our teams are the mediators between the partners and the salespeople. Salespeople just want to sell. Like, this is this whole stereotypical view, right? It's like they will sell anything. You give them this pen, they'll sell a pen, right? That old analogy. But
Yeah.
again, I might sound biased to partners, but I always tell our salespeople internally that the partners have the relationships with the customers. They know the customers. They've worked with them for a longer period of time compared to us. So we really need to understand the partner perspective as well. So my job is understanding the partner and understanding the salespeople and doing what's best for Alteryx as a business and for the customer as well. But let's talk about challenges for 2025 because there's quite a few, I think. Um, the first one is self-service and AI. Like, we can't ignore AI, right? It's not just a buzzword anymore. It's there, it's real, it exists. And I think one of the challenges for the channel is they need to start supporting and articulating more advanced use cases. So one example is like Alteryx can be used today to prepare data for the customer who then can use the data in an AI model. That's fine. Like, we are a self-service analytics platform. The game changer comes in is when a partner comes in and provides a specialist experience or specialist knowledge, like really helps the customer understand what they can do with the data and the AI model. Um, Prior to that, like, the customer could just be using self-service in a very basic way, but the partner has a knowledge of the whole industry or that specific sector. So I think this is one thing is like partners are focusing on more advanced use cases. And I think we are taking, as a software vendor, we are taking a more solutions holistic approach to help solve customers' complex use cases. And then, like I said, I've got a long list. So another one is cloud. Cloud is becoming like quite a major thing at the moment. I think like when you speak to some tech people, they're like, okay, cloud has existed for a long time. But uh, I think like there was a statistic out there that at least 85% of the companies globally still are not fully in the cloud. So, one thing about our platform is that we are on-prem, we're in the cloud, and we are working with customers quite a bit on cloud migration projects. So I think like partners are really helping us at the moment in our business in cloud deployment, cloud migration, and I think we can't avoid the cloud sort of topic because IT companies within customer organizations, they are moving to the cloud from a cost perspective, from a technology consolidation perspective. So I think cloud is very important to keep in mind when we're talking to our partners. I mentioned competition. Competition is always going to be there because our channel and partner network is not just going to be fully dedicated to Alteryx. They're going to be technology agnostic. So they will be, giving the relevant technology or software to the customer that's going to help the customer the most or the most appropriate way. So I think one thing which I'm always keeping an eye on is differentiation versus sort of like via being specialist on industry focused and unique solutions. So you always have to keep an eye in terms of what's happening with competition, but also like find your niche. I think that's really important
Yeah.
for a software vendor. So, for example, we are targeting business analysts every day, but also the partner should be finding a specialist area. So, when I talk to a partner and we talk about how we're going to go to market together, and if the partner says we can do anything, like you name it, we can do it. I'm like, listen, let's just focus on top three areas that you specialize in because that is going to help the partner as well, I
Yeah.
think. And then there's a couple of other things. So one is talent. So we were talking about India prior to hitting the record button, but the attrition rate is crazy post-COVID. And I know in India, attrition rates can be quite high, especially in consultancy companies. Consultants are moving like somebody was telling me like even every couple of months sometimes, which is quite a big impact on the consultant company's business. So I think keeping an eye on top talent, retaining talent, like I would recommend technology companies to have training programs. Personal development is really important to me. And you speak to anyone in my team today, I'm very inclusive from that perspective. Like, even if somebody comes to me and says, I want to do this course, and it's not directly related to my day job, but they are really interested in that course, I will support them. So I think talent is quite key. And, like, having the right talent is
Just
important.
want to add one thing there, and I'm sorry I'm cutting you, but
No, no, it's fine.
you said you added such an amazing point to the list. And I think more than anything after COVID, the trust factor is so, damaged or tarred that as employees, as consultants or whatever, people just don't know that how much can I trust this employer. I think that has
Mhm.
happened to such an extent, especially in India, which I see. It's not even about, personal development or courses. People know where they fall, what talent they have or they don't have, or how much hard
Yeah.
work they are or they aren't. But I think it's more about, how the company or the employer is and how that work environment is. And which is why every time I see you being so proud of your company and your work ex with your current employer, I find it really amazing because there are so many people day in, day out who I interact with, and they would have switched just 3 months back and they are already
Yeah.
unhappy. And what's the point? What are you doing? So yeah, it's
I
crazy.
know, I know. And it's
It's
like,
crazy.
I think I'm reading a book at the moment. I don't know if you've heard of this person called Mel Robbins. She's an American motivational speaker.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe there was a fact in her book. I would really recommend this book called Let Them. And what it's all about is, I can talk all day about it, but what it's about is, let them do what they need to do and let you do whatever is in your control. So I'm like, there was a stat in there, like, between the age of 21 and 60, you will spend more of your life with your work colleagues than you do with your husband, wife, or kids.
Completely.
And if you can't trust the people you work with, and it's the same thing in my world, like, if we can't trust our partners and they don't trust us, you can't work well together.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the customers. Like, even I always find, like, no offense to those who work directly in sales, but us folk in pre-sales, we are the conscious of sales. So, like, at the end of the day, the account executive, the sales engineer have to work very well together as trusted advisors. But then collectively with our partners, we have to work together with our customers. The customers have to trust all of us.
I totally
So,
understand what you're saying.
and actually, sometimes when politics is happening internally with all of these different stakeholders, I'm like, listen, just wait a minute. We all want the customer to be successful. So let's just focus on that and everything else will be fine.
Right.
You know, we
Right.
can discuss everything else from a sales perspective. It's all good. But if you keep, like, your success top of mind, and everyone will be successful, I think, from a customer perspective.
Absolutely. I can record an entire session on that rant with you maybe next time. Literally, if you love,
Yeah, that's for another episode.
yeah, just that entire, I'll start the record session and we'll just start recording all the rant, all about it.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. I have some more challenges, if you're okay about them as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
So like, we are both in the world of tech, and there'll be a lot of tech people listening and watching. Data governance is really important. So, this is a challenge that the channel faces all the time. So whether it's security, whether it's how is your data connecting to multiple data sources, integration of data is really important. How is data transferred from one system to another system?
Yeah.
Um, and I think one really important differentiating factor is actually two. One is, how is a partner giving value add? Like, with Alteryx, our partner network, I mean, when I look at, like, end to end, we probably have 400 partners in our network. But we are becoming very focused this year, very intentful. We're being very targeted. So there'll be one partner will be like, okay, you focus on these business challenges in these areas because we think you're going to give the most value add that way. From customer is quite in a good position. They can pick any partners within the network these days and their job can be done. And I think one thing is being cost effective, competitive, and making sure you're adding value to the customers. And I think then customer success is really important. So, like, in the world of sales, retention is really key. So, at Alteryx, that we take that very seriously. We want to make sure that we're not only retaining the customers because, okay, fine, it helps us hit our number from a sales perspective, but actually we are looking after the customer, we're making sure that they're successful. I mean, if a customer comes to me and says that, look, I'm not using your software, it's not helping us solve our challenges or providing solutions, then I'm like, what's the point of me selling you the software? I want to sell you Alteryx to as long as I know that you're going to use it, right? I don't want you to just buy it and it becomes shelfware.
Right.
So I think there's so many different challenges that the channel and the partner faces on a day-to-day basis. And I think these are still some of the current challenges for 2025 potentially.
I mean, I highly appreciate you bringing, the point of talent because, and while I was actually waiting for all the AI and every stuff, the words to come into the conversation, I didn't expect you talking about talent. So I highly respect you for, hitting that straight on the bullseye. And I think very, very valid challenges, very, very amazing explanation of, the different categories of sales medium. This this conversation, like you rightly mentioned at the beginning, everything has its own time. I think it had to come at this time because this wasn't a very easy conversation to have. Let me put it that way, because just to understand the different type of, there are different type of partners too, there are different types of alliances too, there are different types of, everything, every category has different categories in itself. So this
Yeah.
was such an enriching conversation for me. And then adding to top of it, I asked you also the challenges to it. So I'm really grateful and thankful to you, for answering such difficult questions with such ease, giving examples from your day-to-day life and work. I really appreciate this, Rishi. I can't thank you enough.
No, thank you. No, thank you so much, and thank you for having me on. As you know that, like, I would love to come back again and we can discuss other topics. I think for me, you've mentioned talent. Talent is really important for me, and I think retaining good talent is really important. And for me, like the other day, I actually just have had a new joiner in my global team, and they were like, okay, what does career progression look like in your company? And that I was like, for me, career progression is given. I know that some managers will think, okay, it's your responsibility to progress your career, but it's my responsibility to support you in your career progression. So I've had conversations with people in my team. They're like, look, I might want to take a different role in the company. I said, it's all good. I'll support you. This person was like, okay, look, there is actually a career progression plan. I'm really happy. And from actually, it's 2025. I'm so surprised that some companies don't support individuals in their career like that. And for me, it's actually a given.
Uh,
Yeah, we will support you. You are ambitious, you're showing the performance. I want somebody who's dedicated to the cause. And of course, yeah, I will support them. And I think like diversity, inclusivity, talent, equality is very important to me. Like, at the end of the day, you speak to any leader internally in Alteryx and they realize I'm always going on about inclusivity. I'm like, have you included us in these conversations? Can you really ensure that we're included because we can help you? Have you thought about partners? Like I'm always talking to our internal teams that look, we can't help this customer on our own. We need to bring a partner on, from that perspective. So I'm quite passionate about all these topics. So you can have me on again for another episode. I don't mind.
Absolutely,
We can
absolutely.
talk
And
about it.
the way you mentioned your new joiner, I'm pretty sure your team members are going to be so proud listening to this podcast. I'm
I'm
really,
very proud to have them in my team. So yeah, that's what I would say.
oh, that's so sweet of you. So thanks again, Rishi, and I hope to get you back and talk some more difficult stuff, if that's okay.
No, anytime, anytime. I like the more difficult, the better. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Shruti.